What's going on, YouTube? Got another box, or maybe this is the first box, depending on, yeah, that's a bone for my dog. Depending on how I put these out in order. But I got a box over here, just got shipped in, actually this morning. The other box got shipped in last week, and that finally got done, but who knows what order I'm going to go ahead and put these videos out in. So get rid of all this packaging and stuff. And we got processor here, 6-core, 12 thread, I don't know what that means. Processor 3.9 gig at 6-core. I've got some RAM here. I believe these are 8 gig. Does it say? Yes. No. Yeah, DDR4 8 gig times 2, so I got 16 gig of RAM. And I've got this big old box of, I believe it's an AMD, right? Yeah, AMD motherboard. So we're going to build a computer. And why not? Because I've only done that a few times on my channel, so what the heck, man? Do it more often, right? Oh, sweet. Get all kind of goodies. Got some SATA cables. It looks like 2 in there. Another 2. Yeah, 2 in here. What the heck is this? I have no clue. We got some screws here. There's the screws. What the heck is this? I don't even know what this cable is. I have absolutely no clue. I can't tell by the connection there. But I got another cable, so a couple SATA cables. Set them aside. I have no clue what the heck this is. A sticker, maybe? Or something? I don't know. Not important. Ooh, zip ties. Sweet. Always need zip ties. A card of some sort. A disc that I'll probably never use. More screws, little tiny screws. Holy cow, that's the tiniest screw I've ever seen right there. A card. Game off, you may enter. What the heck? What? A door card? It's like a cutout so you can hang it on your door. Alright, there's something else I'm never going to use. Stickers. Oh, I love stickers. Probably never use those stickers. And a book of instructions. What do I need instructions for? It's a motherboard. I don't need that. Alright, so there's that stuff. I guess I don't really need to open up this, right? Well, I do need to open it, but I don't think I need to do it on camera. But what the heck, man? Since we're in the unboxing mood here, make Rob Z proud. Let's see what we got in here. I mean, we know what it is. It's 2 sticks of RAM. DDR4, right? DDR4. 3200, 8 gig times 2. So there's those bad boys. Look at that. Look at that giant heat sink on those things. I believe that's what that is. All that metal on there. Looking pretty. And let's open up this sucker and see what our I don't even have a knife over here. Just gotta like grip and pull. Oh, shoot, that's not gonna work on this goofy tape. Alright, hang on a second. Alright, got a knife. I got a knife. Alright, let's see what we got here. Is this going to be an easy... Oh, it is. Sweet. Alright. Let's see what we got here. Holy heck, this is a big box for a tiny little processor. We got instructions here. What do we need instructions for? I don't know. Look, instructions. Alright, thanks for including instructions. Ooh, oh, there's my processor. What the heck? Why is that just on the side? Oh, right. I forgot. My bad. Nothing to fear here. Alright, what else we got here? Plastic, garbage, and a box. Okay. This is the big point right here. That's what's all the money. That is your actual processor. Looking beautiful. All those pins on the back side. This is your heatsink and your fan. Let's see what this sucker looks like. Ooh, look at that. Pretty. Look at that fan. Alright, well, I guess I'll set this over here. Don't need this box. I got all kind of garbage laying all over the place now because, yeah, making computers happen. So let me put this knife away before the dog finds it. Don't want a dog to find your knife. They'll go out and commit crimes. Yeah, okay, so, well, now this stupid box is in the way. This box is in the way. I can't even reach this thing over here. This is going to be my donor. This thing I purchased in 2001, 2002, I think. I don't know. It was a little bit ago. Let me get all my important things over here. Garbage, stickers, boxes. Throw them over there. Yeah, that's how I do things. This thing right here. I think I need to take this out to the garage and blow it off. Yeah, it's looking a little dirty in there. But this is the computer that does not work right now. Ironically, it has the most computing power in the entire house. I think this is a dual or a quad core. I don't even remember if it's an Intel. I know it's a Gigabyte. You can see that right there. Gigabyte. There you go. But I can't remember. It's got DDR2 RAM, I believe. It's got 500 gig hard drive, a Blu-ray player, a DVD burner. What else does it have? It's got actual SATA connections. Here, where the heck is it? There we go. We got a SATA connection for the Blu-ray player, but not for the hard drive. It's just a mix-match kind of thing. Oh, it is an AMD. I'm assuming, because the fan says AMD right there. So that's probably an AMD processor. Here's a overview of what it looks like on the back. Got a VGA. We got a DVI. We've got our mouse/keyboard port, 2 USBs up top, HDMI output on the motherboard. We've got digital audio out. We've got, what is this, USB 2.0, I think. And another one, I don't even know what the heck this port is. It says, no, I think SPDIF is this sucker over here, the digital audio. I don't think that's this. LAN connection. 2 more regular USBs, and then all the audio connections down below. But this is going to be, I thought about it and thought about it and thought about it. I was really going to take apart my main computer and put this in, but I think that in the future I'm going to do another one. And instead of this being a 6-core, I think eventually I'm going to get an 8-core for my main computer. So, but the whole idea of this is to show how to, let me get this dog bone out of here, to show how I go ahead and replace the motherboard, processor, RAM, and all that stuff, and kind of build a new computer. So it's not very hard. I know one of the main reasons I was going to do this was because I wanted to, but one of the other reasons was there was a lot of people in the live streams and in videos and stuff like that were saying, how do you build a computer? Like, that sounds impossible. It's not. It's really, really simple. Well, as long as you have the right components. And I'm assuming I will have. I bought this all as a box set, or like a combo deal. So I got the processor, the motherboard, the fan and the heatsink, and the RAM all as a bundled item. So they all should fit together. There should be no problem there. The only problem that's going to come in is, what are the rest of your parts that you have? Well, let's look at it on this computer here. We've got our RAM right here. The RAM is, well, let's start at the beginning. You got your motherboard down here. That's your main board. Then you've got your processor. It's always under this big fan type dealie that you got spinning around there. And it's got the heatsink under it. Underneath that is your processor. Your processor processes everything. Your RAM is pretty much, I believe, how much that it can process, how fast it can process. Your processor will, how big it is how fast it can actually process. Your RAM determines how fast it can process. And then from there, you just have basic components. You've got your disk drives up here. Back in the day, you used to have a floppy disk right here that no longer exists. You have a hard drive, that's where everything's stored. And you have a power supply, the thing that gives all of the components within the computer power. So the power supply has a main wire. Well, this is the main wire going to the motherboard right there, which you kind of can't see because the lighting sucks. But there's also wires that come off the power supply that go to the disk drive. They go to the other disk drive. They go to the hard drive. They go to the motherboard. They go over here for, well, that's the fan right there. They go over here. I don't even remember what the heck this one is for, but that powers more stuff on the motherboard, and so on and so on. But that's it. I mean, you can get more complicated. You can add a video card if you wanted to. You could add an audio card if you wanted to. You could add other different cards. You could add a card with just a bunch of USBs on there. You could do all kind of different stuff that just makes it a little bit more complicated. But once you break it down into basic components, it's not that hard to get a grasp on. So, what the heck? Let's jump into this. Let's go ahead and start taking this stuff out of the box. And let's get it all put together. Let's see if we can actually have this working and running by the time I get this video done, which, hint, hint, it will be, because I won't put this video out until it actually does. But for the most part, this should be a fairly quick operation. It shouldn't be that hard. Step one, all these wires that look like, oh my god, there's so many wires everywhere. Most of these are power wires. So all of these are coming off of the power supply up here, and they're just draped all in here. So, like, a lot of them aren't even hooked up. So they're just hanging out here, not doing a darn thing. Now that I move them out of the way, and there's no light on them, let's see if I can move this a little bit. There we go. You can see there's not really that many wires in here. It's not that big of a deal. And again, most of these wires are not even hooked up. See? So it makes it look a lot more complicated than it actually is, but it's not. Here's a SATA cable. Go ahead and just disconnect that. That goes to the Blu-ray player, which we'll just drape that up and over. Let me see. Old school ribbon cable, not even a SATA cable on the hard drive. Might as well just get rid of that. All right, shoot, I might need this actually, because I don't think, or no, I think I do have another SATA drive. There's the old school ribbon cable, don't need that. A bunch of these things down here. This is the main line right here that goes down here. What's it even called? I can't read that. That's way too far down, but it does say power right there. This goes to your power button, your power light by your power button. There's my light right there. It's all broken. Doesn't even actually work. And my power button is actually hanging out inside the case. So that's how I actually turn the power on. Here's another power cable that goes to the hard drive. Well, I can leave that one hooked up because that goes to my Blu-ray player, which I'm going to keep in there. But look, all these wires now, with the exception of two, are now no longer part of this computer. The only two left is the main power going to the motherboard itself, and this one over here, which I can't remember what the heck it goes to, but it goes onto the board. So, all I need to do now is, now that I got all these out of the way, now I just need to find all the screws on the motherboard, unscrew that sucker, pull the motherboard out, and we're ready to start going. Alrighty, and I have no clue why the heck when I turn my camera on in, we'll call this low light situations, it looks okay, and as soon as I hit the record button, it dims way down, so hopefully it's picking this stuff up. I just took this out to the garage, and, well, looks a lot cleaner, doesn't it? I just went ahead, fired up the air compressor, and blew out the whole case and everything like that. Oh my god, not with an air compressor, there could be water in the lines! Yes, I know. But I don't think that's that big of a deal when this thing might not even turn on tonight. So it's going to have quite a while to go ahead and dry out and everything like that. You don't want to do that with something that you're actively using, because there could be water in the lines, but first off, most of these components that I'm going to keep, which I don't even think I'm keeping this hard drive, I think I'm going to replace that. I forgot to mention that. I do have a solid state drive. Maybe. I just threw it around. 120 gig. I just got this sucker. I think it was like 20 bucks on Amazon. It was really cheap. So cheap that I didn't even bother looking for other ones. I just bought it. because I plan on using a regular old hard drive for storage, and I'm going to use solid state for my operating system. That way it'll be a lot faster, plus whole faster operating system. So hopefully that will all work out good. Okay, yeah, like I said, I just blew it all out. There's still some garbage in here, the joys of living with a dog. But, I mean, pretty much this entire motherboard is disconnected. The RAM I'm going to leave in there because I want to know that it stays with this computer. The only thing that we've got left to disconnect, we only disconnected this SATA cable for the Blu-ray player, and we disconnected, where's it at? Over here, this ribbon cable, old school ribbon cable, which was on the hard drive going to the motherboard. That's the only thing we've disconnected so far. Also, I guess I did disconnect this. This is a USB. You can see it's all smashed up there. And whatever the heck kind of cable that is. I don't even remember what that is. Does it say on here? Probably not. I don't know what the heck it is. I've never used it, so it's not important. The USB would be great, but when I did have this plugged in, it crashed my external hard drive, and I mean crashed. I had to send it back to the factory. They had to send me a brand new one. Fun story, though. I had a 1 terabyte. Yeah, I had a 1 terabyte, and I think they sent me a 3 terabyte replacement, so that was cool. But these were just plugged in, and they were plugged in, I believe, right here on the board. Or maybe it was over here. I don't know. Doesn't matter, because these we're not going to use anymore. The only other thing is the power cable, which is this one right here that's plugged in on the board right next to where it says power. That needs to be disconnected. Bang, done. It's just like, what is that? I guess technically it's a 9-pin configuration. There we go. There's 8 pins, and then that one extra over there. So that's my power. That needs to just be set aside. Now comes the fun part. All these screws. There's one here. Where else do we have? There's one here. There's one here. There's one here. There's one over here. And there should be one. Yeah, one up here. Oh, right here and there. All those screws have to come out. This motherboard comes out, and we grab the new one and throw it in. Was I even in focus this whole time? Probably not. Oh well. Alrighty, and now for the fun part. Got the brand new motherboard out of the plastic, and now it's time to install the processor, which is going to be really hard to see because my stupid camera doesn't want to show anything. But if you look right here on the motherboard, which you cannot see, maybe if I move it up a little bit, you will see there are 2 little plastic pieces right there in the middle of the pins, or where the pins go, and 2 up here. That will show you that on the back, there's 2 little spots where the, that can go on the back side of the processor. Another fun thing, if you look up here in this corner, you will notice, 1, it's got an arrow, and 2, right here, it's got like a 90-degree angle that goes down and over where there are no pins. If you look right here on the processor, where the processor goes, which will not get enough light, I should just get a flashlight for crying out loud, you will see that there is a 90-degree plastic little piece right there that is saying no pins will go in that area. So it can only fit one way. So that is the way you put this sucker in. And I don't know exactly how this goes in, but it does not look like it wants to fit in there right this second. But I don't know. We will look at that closer, but that's how it goes in. You put that sucker in, and you snap this thing down, and it should be locked into place, and then we move on to the fan. Alright, I figured I'd better mention this too. Normally, you have these 2 plastic... Why can I not see anything with this stupid light? Normally, there we go. You have these 2 little plastic pieces there. You can see they've got like little hook dealies on the side of them there. Normally, with your fan, which I've already plugged in, it goes to where it says CPU fan. Normally, it will just sit on there, and then it'll have little hooks that will hook it on and press it down so that the heatsink goes on, which already comes with, what is it, flux or paste or whatever the heck that stuff is that goes on there for heat transfer from the processor to the heat sink, which expels it through the fan, the heat that is. Normally, it just has little hook things that hook underneath here, and you just set it on there and like hook one side, hook the other side, which, here, I can show you on this motherboard. Over here, of course I can't show you because there's no friggin' light. There we go. Like on this one, you just pull this little thing up, and it just comes undone. And that's how it's just like a little hooky dealy. But this one apparently is not like, oh dang it. Okay, whatever. I'm not using this thing anyway. But this one apparently is not like that. This one actually comes with screws on the side. So it looks like, I'm no expert here, people. I'm just doing it. Looks like I need to remove these plastic pieces. So take out the two screws, pull these plastic pieces, and then the new screws on the heatsink will actually go down. I have no clue why this camera will not pick up any amount of light whatsoever. I always do videos in here, and it's way brighter than this. So anyway, that's what I'm doing. Just figured I'd go ahead and point that out, just in case anybody out there is trying to do this, trying to follow my instructions. I don't know why you would do that. That's just reckless. But, yeah, that's what I'm doing. Remove the plastic thing so I can screw the fan into the motherboard, and hopefully it'll work. We'll see that in a second. Look, here's one of those plastic things right here. See how it has a little hooky dealy on there? That's normally what your heatsink will just hook onto. But now it's gone. Alright, let's move on. Okay. So that was it. You just remove those little plastic dealies there, and yeah, the screw holes that were in there, that's where the fan screw holes screw right down in. They're spring loaded, and they go until they stop, and that's all you need to know. Next up is the RAM. I've got one more stick right over here. I've got one stick already started in here. It's weird. Normally, like on this one, you can see we've got tabs on the bottom and the top. This motherboard does not really have, can't see a dang thing with this camera. Doesn't really have tabs on the bottom. It kind of looks like there is, but there's not. There are tabs on the top. So apparently what you do is you just stick those things in. They can only fit one way. If you look, if I can get this RAM out, if you look, there is a break in the center of it there. That means it can only go one way, assuming you have the right kind of RAM. And it just goes in and you press it down. Well, can't press down over here. Gotta do it on my leg. You just press down and that little tab at the top will just click right in. So there's one RAM installed, I believe. I gotta double check that, make sure it's in all the way. And all I need is one more. By the way, look at that. That's the whole back panel there. Ooh, pretty. Alright, yeah, I need one more RAM. I'm going to install that. Then it's time to start screwing this thing down, adding wires, and we're ready to fire this thing up. Okay, now's the fun time where we put the motherboard in. And I was wrong about the one RAM. I didn't have that firmly seated, and when I pressed it down, it actually clicked in. So make sure that they are both firmly pressed in on both sides, the top and the bottom. Make sure they're both firmly set in. Another fun thing that I forgot to mention, which I know somebody's going to point it out in the comments, is you got to have an electrostatic glove that you wear. That way you don't short out the, the case. Well, maybe. What I like to do, and you've probably seen it already with me with my hand on the case the entire video. That's what I do. I keep one of my hands on the case at all times, grounding out myself, because I am on carpet, and you can get a static charge by rubbing your hands on the carpet. I always keep my one hand on the case, and then I work on the computer. That way I'm grounded out on the case, and you don't have a risk of, I mean, you still do, I guess, but you don't really have a risk of electrostatic shock and, frying your motherboard or anything like that. I've built, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 computers, something like that, in the last 20 years. I've never had a problem with it. I've never bought one of those electrostatic glove type dealies. I've known people that build them for a living that have never bought those electrostatic glove things. All that is like it grounds you out. It's like a little wristband that you wear, and it like goes to like one of your fingers, and it's supposed to like ground you out. Whatever. I put my hand on the case. It grounds me out. I'm good. Now the fun part is when you put this thing in. Like, I had this whole little panel on the back. I had to pop this thing out. That's no longer there. Now look at this cool... I can't see a dang thing. All these stupid shadows. You can kind of see my cool little back there. Now all I have to do is put my screws in. All the screws that were in there holding the motherboard down. Apply power and start attaching devices through SATA and stuff like that. And we are ready to fire this thing up. I can't wait. Alright, it's almost all screwed in. The other motherboard used less screws than this one, and I'm missing a screw for that top right corner. What do you do in that case? Well, first off, I think it came with some screws, but heck with that. If you have a half-decent case like this one, this was I bought it in 2001 or 2, I forget the case itself. I've changed the motherboard 3 times. The original was... what the heck what did they call that? It had dual dual hard drives, and it ran in tandem. And one of the hard drives went bad, replaced the hard drive. The motherboard went bad, replaced the motherboard. Then I got sick of the entire system, so I replaced the entire motherboard. And then I think I replaced the motherboard again. But anyway, this is a half-decent case. It's like a VPR matrix. One thing I love about this is right on the front. You take the front case off. Look at all these extra screws you have all in here. These don't go anywhere. They're just sitting there. You have some that have spacers on them. You have some that don't. You have littler ones. You have all kind of screws. So if you have a half-decent case, sometimes if you pop the front panel off, this front panel hasn't been on for a long time. I broke the power button. That's why the power button is inside here. But there is all kind of extra screws that you can use in case you need them. So don't know if your computer is like that. If you have like a Dell, I'm pretty sure they don't come like that. But if you have a half-decent computer like a VPR Matrix and Alienware, stuff like that, I don't know for sure about Alienware. I assume they're like that. I didn't know the VPR Matrix was like this. But anyway... I got extra screws, so I need one more for that top right corner. I'm going to grab one off the front of here, and I'm ready to go. And I'm going to take it off of here, even though I have probably 500 screws laying around, the exact same screw. But I'm not even going to worry about it. I'm grabbing that one, and we'll move on. Alright, next piece of the puzzle. You saw this cage type dealie in there. That's where the dual hard drives were housed when I first got it. And it was right down here in this area. I had to remove that. Because the SATA, well, you can see because of the cable, they plug in from the side, not right directly onto the board. So I had to remove that whole cage. Not a big deal. Don't need it anyway. I'd rather have everything hooked up with SATA. The other big thing is this hard drive is an IDE cable. It is not SATA. If you're wondering what that is, I don't even remember what type it's called or what its name is, but it's SATA. Wires look completely different. Let me pull this one. That's what the wires look like that, instead of this big stupid ribbon cable. So I can't hook up this 500 gig hard drive, waste about 500 gig hard drive, but like I said, I've got this solid state drive, and that's going to be my hard drive, and it's 120 gig anyway, and it does have SATA hookup. So all I need to do is hook that thing up, install that. I put the main power cable in, and this other power cable, it's got a slot for 8 pins, but mine, my power cable, only has 4. So I'm not exactly sure if that's the way it's supposed to be, but it also says heatsink 2. So I'm pretty sure that is not going to be a big deal. Also, the plugs usually only go in one spot. Every once in a while, you'll have a plug that'll go somewhere else. So you'll be like, whoa, was that supposed to go there or what? But for the most part, things are labeled on the motherboard. If you look right next to them, they'll say stuff. Like right down here, where the power cable, this power cable was going, it's labeled PWR, reset, and I think standby light or something like that. And not only that, but it is a, like I said before, what did I say, a 9-pin? Yeah, it's a 9-pin configuration with a blank spot in one corner. Down here, it just so happens to have a blank spot in one corner where it says power. So it makes it really, really simple. So let me plug this in. I'll plug in this hard drive, and that should be all we need. I got a Blu-ray, count blah blah blah. I've got a Blu-ray player up here, and I've got my hard drive, motherboard, processor, RAM, power supply. That should be all I need to fire this thing up and see what it does. Well, besides a keyboard and mouse, and an operating system. But we'll get to that whenever we get to it. So I think I gotta charge my battery because it's already on red again. My second battery gone dead. So, and I really haven't been doing this very long. So I'll rehook up the power wire, my Blu-ray player, SATA drive, open up one of these, get a SATA out, and hook up my hard drive, give it power, because you always need to give everything power, and yeah, we'll get this sucker going. So let's see what we got. Alright, that should be it. I took this little, I don't know what the heck this is. It's kind of like a computer zip tie. It's reusable and stuff like that. I use that to hold up all the wires. Oh my god, it's sticking out of the case. Doesn't matter. Usually I don't even put the side of my case on there. I probably should with this one, try to keep a lot of the dirt and dust and all that crap out of there, but for right now, I'm not very worried about it. I just want to see this thing work. I installed my solid state drive. It's right in here. Had to use one of the smaller screws. Thankfully, I have extra screws on the side. And I plugged it in via SATA down here. SATA for the Blu-ray player. And that's it. Power over here. Main power. Gigantic power. My RAM. Put my processor in. Put the fan over top of it. Heatsink and fan. Solid state drive, power to it, and, well, SATA going to the motherboard and power. My Blu-ray player, which gets SATA and power. That should be all I need. All I need to do now is just hook up my HDMI, my mouse, my keyboard, and my power, and we'll fire this thing up, see if it actually works. Oh, and we've got to put a system on there, which I'm going with Linux Mint. I believe I've got Linux Mint 19 now on a disk. I believe it's free. Just Google it. All you have to do, Google it, and then you can download it and burn it onto a disk, and bang, you've got Linux Mint as the hardware or the software that I'm going to be using. So in case you're wondering about that, I like it. It's free. Barely ever get any kind of viruses or anything like that. So I thought I had a virus actually, but it turned out I'm pretty sure my one hard drive is bad, which I'm probably going to add to this computer, but I'm going to wipe it clean first. But that's not a big deal because my system is going to reside on the solid state drive, so it'll be a lot faster. So that's what I'm doing as far as system goes. So I'm going to go ahead and hook this sucker up, and let's see if it actually works.